court in Bangladesh's Chattogram rejected the bail plea of the jailed Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishna Das Brahmachari. Chinmoy was arrested by the Dhaka police on the 25th of November in connection with the sedition case. The bail plea sought by a team of 11 Supreme Court lawyers who had travelled to Chattogram from Dhaka was rejected by Metropolitan Sessions Judge MD Saiful Islam after hearing arguments from both sides for around 30 minutes. Let's in fact tell you who is Chinmoy Krishna Das. He is a prominent Hindu leader in Bangladesh and in fact is the spokesperson of the Bangladesh Samilito Sanatan Jagran Jyote. Prominent Hindu leader and monk affiliated with ISKCON in Bangladesh. They were telling you who is Chinmoy Krishna Das, who is also a vocal advocate for the rights of Hindus in Bangladesh. Led peaceful protests demanding justice and protection for Hindus in Bangladesh. And in fact, he was charged with sedition for his role in an October 25, 2024 rally in Chittagong, accused of disrespecting and undermining state sovereignty. And there the charges have sparked outrage among minority community, and in fact is also seen as part of a broader crackdown on dissent amid communal tensions in India's neighbouring country. One of the 18 individuals facing similar charges related to the incident. Let's in fact go across to Suhas Chakma, who is the Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group. He joins me live on more on this. Mr. Chakma, a very warm welcome to you. You know, it's a sad news. Bangladesh court again rejecting the Hindu monk Chinmoy Krishna Das's bail petition in a sedition case. From November 25 onwards, he continues to be in a jail. How do you really see this?
Well, I think it was expected because there was no case in the first place against Chinmoy Das. It's a politically motivated, perverse case which was filed by a private individual from the BNP, someone called Firoz Khan. He is being detained for only one specific reason, that the Hindus in Bangladesh must not organize themselves to seek justice, democracy, rule of law. That's what they want. And Hindus in the history of Bangladesh had never protested in this manner. Therefore, the rally which took place on 25th October at Chittagong, I mean, it had shocked the Muslim majority, and they had to find a case where, you know, it would be very difficult for him to get the bail. So that's why they have put sedition case. And there is no sedition case whatsoever. There is no evidence whatsoever. The allegations made by Firoz Khan only says that, you know, ISKCON flags we are put on the top of the flags put by the Boshamba Birodi Chhatro Andolan, which had put the Bangladeshi national flags. And there are no allegations that, you know, Chinmoy Das had even put them. So the allegations are that Chinmoy Das had entered into conspiracy, and therefore these flags were put. Firstly, there was no evidence that the flags were put. Even if the flags were put, you have to arrest the main accused. And without arresting the main accused, you are detaining only Chinmoy Prabhu to send a message to all the Hindu minorities in Bangladesh that you dare, you know, to organize this kind of protest, you will be silent. And so that's why they shall continue to deny the bail to Chinmoy Krishna Das, not because he is not eligible. You know, police should have conducted the investigation by now. He is being detained because he is the only one who dared to organize the protest. Nothing more and nothing less. That's the only reason why he has been detained, and that's why he has been denied bail.
Right, and also, you know, Bangladeshi government, for all it wants, it can just, you know, go on and continue to say that there is no attack happening on the minorities and that there is no religious persecution that is taking place, but it's for everyone to see what exactly is taking place in that country. My question to you, Mr. Chakma, is what concerns do you have about the handling of the sedition case against the Hindu monk? You know, because why I ask this is this will be most certainly seen as a trend of targeting minorities, isn't it?
Yes, that's what I said. You know, I mean, it's part of the wider crackdown, as you had mentioned, on the Hindu minorities. The case is not about sedition. When you file a case of sedition, bail, because it's a crime against the state, you are questioning about the sovereignty, territorial integrity, or, you know, of Bangladesh, then it's very difficult for him to get bail. And if you look at the trends, in the first case when he was ordered not to be released and this, the 2nd January date was put up, please remember that there was no lawyer. How could you send somebody to jail simply because the state had even failed to provide a lawyer? So the whole, the argument of the Bangladesh government is that there are no attacks on minorities and etc. I think the cases are not being reported by the Bangladeshi press. The Bangladeshi press, if they dare to report all these cases, then they are targeted. And I do not want to mention the name of the human rights organization in Dhaka, which used to bring out monthly briefing and bulletins and had exposed the government of Bangladesh. It has been silenced and it has not been bringing the monthly updates from October onwards. So there's a monthly October for October, November, December. So anybody reports truth in Bangladesh at this point of time are being silenced. So there is no press freedom, and only if find in the social media, people usually say that this is not genuine news. So it's very difficult for the Hindu minorities to bring out even what is happening to them. And there are no organizations, because if Chinmoy Das goes to or being detained under sedition law, anybody can be arrested. So who will dare to even report about that? So
and Mr. Chakma, and the fact, Mr. Chakma, that in most places jail is an exception while bail is a norm. But that clearly isn't the case in Bangladesh at all.
You cannot detain a person simply because the lawyers cannot appear because of the threat from the fundamentalists. And if you look at Bangladesh, forget about jail is the exception, bail is the in Bangladesh, the judges are actually bludgeoned. They cannot give any independent judgments. So if you look at it, 5 Supreme Court judges, including the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, had to resign because some people claiming to be students had garrowed the Supreme Court. Then there are about 12 High Court judges who have been taken out of the judicial responsibility simply because they were allegedly appointed by Hasina's government. So in that kind of an atmosphere, the judge will not be able to give him bail, because the moment the judge gives the bail, he has to go home. And on the way to the home, he is not going to be protected, because we have to understand that there is no rule of law whatsoever in Bangladesh. It's anarchy at the best. So the judge has no protection himself. And I will not be surprised the judge had denied the bail, not because he wants to put Chinmoy Krishna Das behind the bars or he is convinced the case is made out. Anybody with basic common sense reads the 1-page FIR complaint, because the first page it's only the accused, second page only one para about the allegations. He is doing this for his own safety and security. So therefore, the government is behind it, because the government at the end of the day wants to rule the country through the mob rule of the students and the fundamentalists. So any fundamentalist could come out and say, we are the students, and that's enough, and nobody would dare to give any kind of judgment based on the rule of law. If you are Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and if you are forced to resign because some kids in the street want it, then what kind of justice is left there? So the very fact that if we assume that there is actually justice, there is rule of law, there is a hearing, these are all drama. There is nothing, because if you are a judge, if you release Chinmoy Krishna Das, your life will be at risk. You yourself will be killed, even if you are a Muslim. So that's a situation which Yunus has created, and that's the biggest problem or the crisis which we are facing.
And also, not to mention that, there are reports that indicate that Chinmoy Krishna Das's health is also deteriorating. Mr. Chakma, at this point, I would like you to also address a very important question that I'm about to ask you. What message does the rejection of bail, despite the involvement of 11 Supreme Court lawyers, send about access to justice in Bangladesh?
There is no access to justice in Bangladesh. The justice system had collapsed the moment the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court was forced to resign. They tried to ensure that the army president of Bangladesh also resigns, and they were not successful because the army chief and the president of Bangladesh are dependent on each other and they are protecting each other. I think there is a clearer and larger message. That message to the government of India that, the Hindu minorities will be persecuted. We do not care about what India says and does, and it's up to India what kind of stand they take. Because Bangladesh is not strategically important for anybody. So therefore, international community did not intervene when Hasina was there. And they will never intervene because Bangladesh is only important for India's territorial integrity, safety, security, because it's surrounded by, it's inside almost India. So the only India is concerned, India has to be concerned. And of course, then we have communities, both Hindus and Muslim, both sides of the country. So this is a message from Yunus to India that no matter what you say or you do, we are ready to confront you. And we will not respect your sentiments, and we will exactly send a message by keeping the most prominent Hindu leader in jail, and you cannot do anything about it. So I think it's time for India to take a decision, because this is not a government you can engage diplomatically, because they have released, in one hand they have kept Chinmoy Prabhu in jail. They have released the people who had smuggled 10 truckloads of arms in 2004 for Ulfa. They have released the prime accused, those who killed former Minister Kibria, and all the terrorists who were prosecuted by the BNP, they have been released. So it's a clear message that terrorists can go scot-free in Bangladesh, but a Hindu monk will be in jail, to send a clear message to India with both these, the incidents. One, releasing the terrorists who were prosecuted by BNP. Because if Awami League, then they will say it's biased. Prosecuted by the BNP, so they have been released. And the one monk, his only fault is putting up a flag. So what kind of message they are sending to India? It's very clear.
Right, and what Mr. Chakma here is trying to say, to sum it up, he's saying that time for talks is over and it's about time that India should act and act decisively.